Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our mindfulness and meditation course video session with Lama Surya. I'm Rachel, and I work with the Love Server Member Foundation and ramdas.org, and you may recognize me from moderating the course for the past few weeks. I will also be moderating this video session today with Lama. Lama Surya is an incredible Buddhist teacher. He's a scholar and author and was one of the first Westerners to bring Tibetan Buddhism to the West. He spent time with Ram Dass and Maharaji in the 1970s, and he and Ram Dass have been guru brothers ever since, and they've been teaching together for the past 30 years. Our session today will be about an hour long. We have some questions to ask the Lama in just a little while after his introduction, but I want you to treat this session as a tool for you to integrate the teachings from the past 4 weeks into your life. As seekers, we should never stop asking questions. So please feel free to ask the Lama questions pertaining to the course using the chat box to the right of the live YouTube video. Let's see. Over the past 4 weeks, we've practiced many different mantras and meditations from the Buddhist and Bhakti paths, and we've been introduced to a lot of core teachings from Ram Dass, including cultivating loving awareness, witness practices, and choosing the method that integrates best into our own lives. Surya Das has decades of wisdom under his belt, and we're so grateful that he's joining us today to answer your questions and share some of the knowledge that he's gained through a lifetime of his own practice. So with that, thank you for being a part of this journey with us, and I'll turn over the mic to Lama Surya Das.
Thank you very much, Rachel
Welcome.
Fisher.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful Be Here Now network of our dear Ram Dass, our beloved inspiration. Hi, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying and getting plenty out of this mindfulness and meditation course over the weeks. I know it's covered various fundamental and important subjects, very important for creating a spiritual life from scratch, or getting on the path, or firming up and reinforcing your spiritual path if you're on it. Subjects including meditation and mindfulness and loving awareness and the witnessing practice, as Rachel said, and talking about yoga and chanting, loving kindness and compassion, daily practice, self-knowledge, seeking and questioning and investigating, so important on this path, the path of awakening, the path of enlightenment, the path of your true nature, your true self, coming closer to God, if you wish, or to the higher power, the inner power, the deeper power within each and all of us. I know a lot of you have resonated strongly with the chanting, and I love chanting too. It's a big part of Tibetan Buddhist practice. I chant mantras and prayers every day, and we'll get to that. I'm sure you've been learning mindfulness and meditation. We'll have a little guided meditation at the end of this 45 or hour session. This is a beautiful thing, a gorgeous thing, to be a seeker, pilgrims together, awakening together on the path, especially in this anxious and violent, chaotic world that we face today, and from our endangered planet to the calls of government, to our own families and homes and neighborhoods, the violence in the streets, domestic violence, and everything else that we face as challenges today. There's an ancient Chinese saying, and I'm sure many of you have heard it, but it's worth remembering since it's been around for 3,000 or 4,000 years. It's amusingly put as a little prayer. Here it is. May I always live in interesting times. And this is certainly one of them. So as spiritual seekers, of course, we seek to work on ourselves, as Ram Dass would say, work on ourselves and find our true selves and authenticity, and give up things that are contrary to that. to work on ourselves and together and each other, to be better people, to find a better life and way of life, and help bring to birth a better world, better for us and our children and grandchildren and neighbors and friends and all the animals and all the beings, all the critters, great and small, in this beautiful universe where we're all like gods and goddesses walking on this altar of the earth and walking and awakeful together. I myself practice meditation for an hour every morning and for 45 minutes, a half hour every night. I'm starting to fall asleep more at night as the years keep advancing. Nothing like Ram Dass, but somehow I got older too, even though I was always the youngest in our spiritual community, in our ashram, our satsang in India. I was 20 when I went over there, like Sharon Salzberg and some of us other young'uns and whippersnappers. And maybe some of you are starting this path anew also, or are young in body, but are old souls, are deep souls. And since we're here together, I believe that. And we're all connected at the heart, in the heart of the matter. Mindfulness and meditation, cultivating awareness, being more present rather than absent-mindedly stumbling through life. That's what mindfulness means to me, my dear friends. And I'm sure you've heard about it during this course and hopefully brought it home and been learning to practice it in sitting meditation, mindful of breathing, concentrating, calming and clearing the heart mind, focusing, centering, calm and clear. Or mindful of the divine, or mindful of the light, of the beauty in everyone you meet and in every moment and in every being. Mindful rather than mindlessly sleepwalking through life. That's my understanding of mindfulness. And that brings mindful living, enlightened life, awakened living. And we need each other to become awakened, to become enlightened, as the Dalai Lama says. We may seem to be practicing for ourselves or working on ourselves, but it's not just alone. We're all interconnected. It's for everyone. It's for everyone. The angrier we are, the worse it is for everyone. The more we cultivate calm and equanimity and generosity and empathize with others and feel what they feel and learn how to empathize and feel what they feel and not just compete, never exploit or harm. The more we connect with others, the more we see ourselves in them and them in us. And then, of course, naturally, we would treat them as we would ourselves be treated. The golden rule, timeless law. So we cultivate loving kindness and compassion through being more mindful and attentive in the moment to every relation, to every connection, to everyone we meet in our home, outside our home, at work, in the street, on the conveyance, bus, train, or car, for that matter, or walking to work, and every animal, dog, pet, squirrel, bird. They too have the right to life. They have families, they have parents, they probably have offspring who care about them. We don't want to prevent them from getting home at night to their dinner table, to their family, to their nest. They will be missed. And we see many cases of animals grieving for their lost ones in the wild, not just people. Mindfulness has so many benefits. It's really a great friend with benefits, to be funny. Joke. Mindlessness has so many downsides, like mindlessness at the wheel brings so many so-called accidents. Mindful driving, mindful speaking rather than just retaliating in kind, shouting back. Mindful listening, so important in relationships. Mindful listening. Thich Nhat Hanh says meditation is like listening. Prayer is like talking to your higher self or the higher power. In the Course, we've heard these things. We've learned about chanting. We've been chanting the mantras in the ancient language of the gods, the Devanagari Sanskrit language of ancient India. I hope you're chanting it at home. And we can also chant together when we get together for kirtans and other times where you can listen and chant like along with Krishna Das online or from his CDs or whatever way you get music today. You young people, I still have Krishna Das CDs that I listen to, as well as online and through my phone, of course. But chanting together is a wonderful practice. Chanting is chanting meditation. We're mindful of chanting and using the breath and the tongue and the throat and the heart and the soul and the breath and our body. It's an embodied meditation, helping us be more present here and now. For where else can we be anyway? Don't fool yourself. Chanting meditation, co-meditating, intermeditating together, meditating with music, co-meditating music, chant meditation, kirtan, bhakti, devotional practice, bringing us closer to our true selves, to each other, and to the divine within. That's part of our Guru Yoga practice in Tibetan Buddhism and Guru Kripa or Guru devotion in the Indian traditions. That our Guru taught us, Ram Das's Guru, Krishna Das's Guru, my Guru, Nimkaroli Baba, the hand whose fingers are standing up within each of us, finger puppets, our higher self, our best self. And we can connect with that through these chants. And I know you've been learning these Sanskrit chants on this course and how to focus on them and concentrate on them and use them as a meditation with sound, vibrating in the throat chakra and the body, and an embodied meditation. Wonderful. And also yoga, of course, meditation in movement or Tai Chi. There are so many ways to pray, to mindful, to awaken together. In Tibetan, we have Tibetan yoga. In Tibetan Buddhism, it's a great practice, the 6 energy yogas. So I hope that you carry some of these home and put them in your spiritual toolbox, not just to rust and gather the dust, but take at least 1 or 2 practices out every day and use them. Perhaps in the morning, early morning is a great time for practice, many of us find. But any time is the best time. Anytime you can, that's the best time for spiritual practice, for spiritual awakening, for doing the real work, for working on oneself, as Ram Dass called it, for the sake of all. The very universal and eclectic master of 100 years ago, Gurdjieff, called it the real work. And it was all about attention, awareness, and presence, put in a Western context, which you don't necessarily need to do sitting down cross-legged with eyes closed. Of course, that's a great way to do sitting meditation and cultivate mindfulness, calm and clear, equanimity, focus and concentration. But we could also do standing meditation, lying down on our back meditation, or sky gazing, breathing and letting go totally, and just being there, totally present and accounted for in the moment. Being here now, as Ram Dass proclaimed 50 years ago. I can't believe it's that long. In his first book, maybe 46 years ago. Be here now, still a classic, worth reading. Or be loved now, as he's proclaimed more recently in one of his books. Be loved now, loving awareness, not just calm and clear, but also open, friendly, welcoming. That's also the essence of mindfulness, friends. Friendliness or loving kindness. Friendliness is part of the original word mindfulness, sati. Welcoming, accepting, letting things come and go, letting be. Not just using the words meditation instruction, letting be, to throw away or suppress or get rid of anything. Letting things come and go, letting be like the waves on the sea, like the clouds passing through the crystal sky-like. Big mind, divine mind, guru mind. Buddha mind. Buddha, Yuda. You, duh. Anyway, life ain't much fun if we take ourselves too seriously. So I know we've gotten some questions, and I'd love to hear from you. So send them in, as Rachel said. I myself wanted just to mention about chanting, a little more chanting meditation, sacred sound. My favorite mantra is Om Mani Padme Hung, the Dalai Lama's mantra. Literally means the jewel is in the lotus, or the light is within each of us. The Buddha is within us, the light, the divine, by whatever name. It's just as sweet. Or awakening, God, truth is within our spiritual blossoming and unfolding. That's the real meaning of the lotus. That's unfolding within our hearts, our heart and soul, our body, mind, not just coming down from elsewhere like the lightning bolts. Or after we die, so find it somewhere else in some heaven or pure land, some paradise somewhere. The jewel in the lotus, Om Mani Padme Hung, and radiating compassion and caring and connecting and feeling what others feel, radiating it, breathing it out and breathing it in from them, all together, radiating and absorbing, breathing together, chanting together with the sound of the wind, the waves, all the natural elements, the waves, like our own bloodstream, the wind, like our own breathing, all the animal sounds, the whale sounds, the bird calls, like our own voice, all in Om Mani Padme Hum. I know that you guys were chanting the Sanskrit mantras, including the Gate mantra, one of my other favorite mantras. Om Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Swaha. Ha! That's very important. Go beyond the mind. That's the beyond mantra, the Gate mantra. Gate means beyond, 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 beyond the mind, beyond the body, beyond duality, beyond me and you, beyond I and it, beyond objectivizing things outwardly, to a non-dual or inseparable oneness, let's call it, interconnected. Gate, Gate, Paragate, truly beyond, beyond even the beyond, a wakefulness, Bodhi, Swaha, far out, Amen, Eureka, Hallelujah, yay. I love that mantra. Om Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parasam, Gate, Bodhi, Swaha. Beyond, transcendent, yet imminent, totally here, now. If it's not here, friends, where would it be? Call it God if you like, or heaven. If it's not, or nirvana. If it's not now, when would it be? When? Any questions?
Yes, we do have a couple of questions here. One of the questions pertains to meditation and mantra. The question is, in the course, we practice both meditation and mantra as well as a pranayama practice. Are there times or situations when it's more useful to use one practice over another in your experience?
Yes. As I was saying before, partly tongue-in-cheek, the best time to do formal, explicit spiritual practice is any time. It's when you can do it. But many of us like to do it in the morning and or at night. Some are morning people, some are night owls, or in the middle of the day, or a few times in the day, or more on the weekend, but whenever you can. And then there's the other part of, is it better to do some practices at certain times than others? So some people are very focused on one practice or 1.5 practices or 2 practices that they always do, like always repeating the same mantra, always doing the same prayer, always practicing the same, couple or several yoga postures. Others are a little more eclectic or diverse and abundant. They may practice meditation and chanting and prayer and yoga and walking meditation, mindfulness and walking, and maybe go to therapy also, and write in their journal or write poems or do some art. So not to be scattered about it, but there's 24 hours in a day and there's 8 days in a week, and there's plenty of time. There's enough time for those who know how to live the spiritual life, I guarantee it. No matter how long we live, there's enough time. So it's a matter of priorities and choice and experimenting also. A lot of this is a path. It's improvisational. You know, when you go on a journey, you might think you're going to a certain place, and in your mind you have a picture of what it's like there, but we don't really know. No matter how many travel brochures or scriptures or videos about it we watch. And certainly if we're thinking about the bigger goals, like happiness and fulfillment, or further wakefulness, awakening, enlightenment, heaven, nirvana, the really big goals, those words are like placeholders for something it's very hard for us to exactly know now or foresee. So we experiment, we window shop. Sometimes we go in and we, you know, take on, we buy, we take home a practice, and we try it on, and if it doesn't work, we can give it back. Maybe we try another practice or a few more and we augment it. So people might say, you know, I'm a this or that, but they also, we live in a melting pot country and melting pot karma, so we have a melting pot dharma. Not like in the old world where people didn't know about other peoples, other religions, other lands, where it was very vague, even on the maps, very vague. So I think it's good to find out what works for you. And also, if you're an emotional, devotional type, we call it bhakti in India, and you like singing and chanting and music and devotion to a teacher or a tradition or to beauty, that's one path. That's a path of devotional yoga and service, karma yoga, good works, seva, serving the highest by serving the lowest, or serving God by serving humanity. Some are more yogic and physical and like to do physical yoga and exercise and work maybe hard with their hands or sweat or, you know, extreme exercise and things like that to go beyond the mind. And for them, then there's a lot of physical practices, and perhaps you could include chanting in that. I don't know. Chanting kind of bridges a bunch of these, but using the body and the breath and chanting long and many times until you're chanting your brains out with gate, 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 para, gate, para, blah, 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 blah. Ah. And then witness, see who or what is present in that big, spacious openness, emptiness, the shining void beyond the mind and concepts. Some are more philosophical. So there's Jnana Yoga, knowledge, philosophy, and so on. So there are different kinds of practices we could do. And at certain times you might want to do like a healing practice for you or for somebody else. At other times you might do a purification practice, like purification fasting and purity and things like that in this every spring, like a spring cleaning. There are different times in the year also, like the festivals and holidays in tune with the seasons. You might do different practices. So it's good to know some of these or join with other people who know and do some of them. But I would say commitment is often an issue, just like in life and relationships or your own vocation. So it's good to find something that works and dig deep into it. Yes, but not, you know, augmenting it with other things.
Right. I just recalled a really interesting comment on the Facebook group that we have for the meditation course, and a woman commented and she said, I've been practicing the mantra every day during a formal meditation time, but then I was gardening and I found myself chanting the mantra in my head. Is that okay?
That's very okay.
And I said, that's more than okay.
That's wonderful. Yes. I would say everybody knows about this, but you know, I've written about this in books. Sometimes gardening is the spiritual practice, and people are kneeling in the sun and have their hands in the good earth, and it's just like being, you know, kneeling in church for them, and they wouldn't go near a church for whatever reason of nature or nurture that they have, you know, their conditioning. But the gardening is it. So mantra, there are different kinds of mantras. Of course, there's compassion mantras and wisdom mantras and purification mantras and healing mantras and long mantras and short mantras and devotional mantras. But another way of looking at it is that there's the outer mantra which you chant, which has sound, like decibel levels, makes vibrations, use your mouth, your tongue, your breath, your energy, as I said before, and your focused mind. So it's a body, mind, and soul, spirit focused, meditation. Outer, making the sound or sending it out or not, however you look at that. Sometimes radiating it and reabsorbing it and connecting with the whole mantra, the hologram, the universe. And then there's the inner mantra where you just say it in your mind. Like I often do that if I'm in an airport terminal or somewhere, and just say it, or even in bed at night. Say it. Of course, in the shower, I like to sing my mantras and things. It's just like singing in the shower. Quote, nobody's listening, less self-conscious. I mean, Buddhist chants are good anyway because, you have the feeling nobody's listening. But that's another matter. That's like an inside joke. But the inner mantra, like in bed or if you're with other people, if you need to resort to your mantra, if you want to, do your devotions or focus on a mantra, you do it silently. It's called the mind mantra. And it's just, it's like what we would call saying it to yourself or singing a tune to yourself. You're probably sitting there with earbuds. So, a lot of this can go on in, quote, in your head, which is not the goal, but I'm just saying the inner mantra can be in your head and really in your body and mind, and you can concentrate on and do the whole mantra meditation or devotion or even sing it to yourself. And another part of the inner mantra is visualizing it, the mantra, the Sanskrit seed syllables in your chakras and channels. That's more complicated, but it's inner. It's in your inner, your light body, not just outer, singing it out so anybody could hear. And then secretly, so we covered the outer auditory mantra that you chant or sing, the inner mantra that you, quote, think and feel. And then the secret mantra is just the underlying hum of the universe, of the cosmic machinery, like the universal Om that just keeps going. As it says in a good book, in the beginning was Om, and without Om, nothing was made. So that's like in Taoist, they call it the Tao's hum, the underlying hum of the earth that some people can hear. So that's like the secret mantra that goes on whether you're trying or not. That's the fundamental, that's the underlying, that's like the water table where all wells and aquifers meet underground. So that's the great cosmic mantra that's always oming. And when you can come home to that pun, when you can come home to that, you don't have to do it, it does itself. And if you chant outwardly enough, then in your mind it starts to go around and you feel it in your heart and body and chakras. And then it's very good going by itself, as that practitioner found. And it's more than okay. It's more than okay. It's sort of like you've offered up your lips and your breath and your samadhi, your focus to the higher power, and the higher power is just chanting to itself or by itself. It's not you doing it anymore. So there's a great witnessing, but it's a supreme witness. It's like the mouth through which Goddess chants is the mouth which chants me into life, something like that. Her chanting, his chanting is coming through me. I'm not doing it. So those are a few thoughts about mantra from my own experience. And mantra means, for us, our explanation in Tibetan Buddhism is it's something to lean the mind on. So it's like a cane or a crutch or a tool, but it could also be like a horse or a car or a jet plane, if you want to look at it that way. It's something that we can rely on, focus on, concentrate on, that helps us go where we're going, helps us along the path, helps us beyond our small selves into something much bigger that's, as I said before, transcendent over any one of us, yet immanent in each of us. And not just human beings, all the creatures, great and small.
There's a wonderful quote from Mahatma Gandhi. He said, "The mantra becomes one's staff of life and carries one through every ordeal. It is no empty repetition, for each repetition has a new meaning, carrying you nearer and nearer to God."
Beautiful. Staff, yes, like a cane, crutch, or a vehicle that we can lean on. And we lean our concentration on it, we focus. So that's why I'm talking about mantra meditation, chanting meditation. Gregorian prayers and chants are like how those monks meditate and contemplate and so on. Beautiful. And then there's the mantra of the breath, which is just like prayer beads just going around, going in and out. And I have to admit, even an alpha-achieving, egotist, narcissistic American, New York motor mouth like me, that I'm not really doing my breath. The breathing is happening whether I try or not. And it's almost impossible to try not to breathe. So something greater, the life force, is breathing through me and you and us. And that's like the Om, the underlying secret mantra, or continuity, something we can rely on and rest in and trust. The aliveness keeps going, however we might try foolishly to deaden or dissociate ourselves or distract ourselves. It keeps going and keeping us here and now, and that's the essence of aliveness, is wakefulness. Even in our sleep, we can still be aware and know we're dreaming in the dream while we're asleep. So there's a lot of dimensions to this mindfulness, meditation, and loving awareness. It's friendly, loving kindness awareness. Cultivation. And I do want to stress cultivation, as it has been with the word practices in this course, that we cultivate loving kindness. We don't just pray to God or to Guru or to the boss somewhere to give it to us. We cultivate it and develop it. We cultivate mindfulness and awareness. We cultivate focused concentration. We cultivate virtues like generosity, patient forbearance, tolerance, and so on. That's how we walk the spiritual path. It's a path of cultivation and development. You could call it self-development if you like, but I've talked before about moving from me-ditation to we-ditation and co-meditating and awakening together, not just self-improvement project. There is no separate, permanent self anyway, and it can't be helped. So self-help projects only go so far. We're all in the same boat. We rise and fall, sink or swim together. And this kind of awareness practice helps us realize that and be more compassionate and empathic and connected and feel our place in the bigger picture with all beings.
I love that. So I guess I'll move on to a next question. Mm-hmm. This is a question from that I got via email. How do you deal with negative self-talk that may come up during mantra or meditation? Sometimes I find myself feeling frustrated during my practice, and I have a hard time dropping into the flow.
Yes, that's a wonderful question. From the bigger picture, keep an eye on worrying about whether you're jumping into the flow or not. The flow goes right through you, so you may not have to jump or do gymnastics or Olympic training to get in touch with that. The great Tao is flowing through you right now. You don't need to build a huge construction project bridge to cross over the river to it, as it were. On a more practical level, I believe and I found that you deal with that like any other distraction that comes up while you're meditating, while you're doing your chant meditation. You focus on the chant. When something comes up like to distract you, you recognize it, you notice it, and you bring your attention, your wandering awareness, your attention, your mind, back to the mantra. So the monkey mind jumps around, the puppy-like mind runs around, and you try to bring it back where it belongs. Like the puppy, you always try to bring it back to poop on the paper in the corner and train it that way. The monkey mind, you keep bringing it back because it jumps all around from tree to tree trying to grab all the fruits like Hanuman and Ramayana. But it has to, eventually it's trained by devotion to be able to stay put through devotion to the guru or the divine and everything, and then we're more come back to being one with ourselves and here and now. So practically speaking, when you have the harsh critic, the inner tyrant, those what you call it, negative self-talk comes up, from one point of view, it's just like any other distracting thoughts, and you come back to your chanting, mindfulness of chanting, concentrating on the chant, and recognize that thinking and awareness is not entirely the same. You can be aware of thoughts You can also be aware of no thought for short periods of time. You can be aware of feelings. You can be aware of being numb, but numbness isn't the goal. So awareness is a little discrete or bigger than, but including feeling and thinking and all the six senses, smells and tasting and touching and hearing and all. And mind is the sixth. So thoughts in the mind, you can be aware of them and then just come back to your mantra, chanting, focus, concentrating on mantra as the object of attention, as we say in the meditation texts. But it just means like staying with the practice, coming back to the mantra, using the leash of mindfulness to pull your attention, wandering attention, the monkey mind, back to the object of attention, in this case, the mantra. In the case of mindfulness of breathing, you bring it back to the breath. In the case of visualization, or let's make it broader. If you're sawing a board and your mind wanders, you better bring it back pretty quick to what you're doing, or you might lose some fingers. If you're driving and your mind wanders, you might have a, quote, accident. Even though there are no such things as accidents in this world, there's always cause and effect, as you see. And some people are more prone to accidents than others, mostly through mindfulness or inebriation or overtired or some distraction. Now, if we're going to talk psychologically, and I'm not going to go far down this particular rabbit hole, but you know, the harsh self-talk, it's good to recognize that and see, perhaps witness, just notice that, or perhaps inquire further into whose voice it sounds like. Is it one of you? Is it your parental voice, or the hard, the tough, the very critical, you know, gym teacher or scoutmaster or older sibling, or what? And then, you know, see, you're not that child under their domination anymore at school or in gym or with the older sibling. You're an adult, and you can choose whether to give into that or believe those thoughts. And that's one of the biggest insights that we can find. Awareness can get a distance or perspective on thoughts and feelings and perceptions, and doesn't have to blindly react according to habitual conditioning, but can choose when, how, and if to respond intentionally and principally. So you start to get more perspective from your thoughts, a little distance. That's what Ram Dass in this course was calling the witnessing. Like stepping back into the witness box, so you're not so over-involved in the altercation, in the argument, in the court case, if you're talking about a witness box. You're just witnessing, like mostly we watch a movie or something on TV, but sometimes, especially in a movie where it's all dark, you forget that it's a movie. And then you come out and it's like, ah. I remember when I watched Schindler's List, and when I came out in the middle of, you know, brick Boston, I breathed a sigh of relief to get back from Nazi Germany, where the movie was taking place. I had forgotten. I mean, I could still walk out or find the bathroom or the water fountain, but I had kind of, for an hour and a half, really been transported. And I never really liked the brick feeling of Boston without the trees and all before, but it was like, oh, what a relief. Freedom, yeah, America, my life, not Nazi World War II Holocaust life. And we can get a little distance and maintain it, but still go be in our life without just being a spectator. That's the balance. Not being a wallflower in life, but learning how to dance with life and get out on the dance floor, but also having the ability to stop and rest and be a wallflower, you know, for a rest or for fun or for a moment, or because you're shy and new there, for many reasons. It's good to be able to have a rest from our busy traffic jam thoughts in the mind. And I've been making cartoons lately. I have a whole book of cartoons now I call Karmatoons. Rachel, I don't know if I've sent you this one, but friends, I might share these on the web or make a book soon. The cartoon shows a really dark, bad neighborhood at night, and there's a guy and a girl, you know, my usual like square stereotype, and the guy saying, "My head isn't the best neighborhood for us to visit tonight." It's like, my head isn't the best neighborhood to live in.
Right.
What's life and just what's going on in that busy head. So getting a little distance from her perspective through meditative awareness, mindfulness can help so much. Just it's so liberating, freeing, and relieving. That's why mindfulness and meditation and spiritual practice is such a friend with benefits, many benefits, healing benefits, spiritual benefits, wisdom benefits, physical health, mental health, relational health. Wonderful. Recommend it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Highly recommend it.
Perfect. We just do it. Not just
Right.
practice makes perfect. Practice is perfect. Just do it. Like Nike.
I love that.
Says.
Practice is perfect. So just do it.
So I try to do it every day. And that's one of the fundamentals of building and maintaining a spiritual life, a daily-ish spiritual practice. Of course, integrating with the rest of the day, but every morning a daily-ish spiritual practice, not beating yourself up if you miss a day. But like exercise year-round, many days of the week, if not every day, then you're more healthy, theoretically, and spiritually, to be more spiritually healthy and fit and meaning and purposeful, I'm sure. Especially if you find the right practice is good for you, not just imitate others.
Oops, I accidentally muted myself. I'm back. Thank you for that. I think we have time for maybe one or two more questions.
Good.
I'm going to switch gears.
Plenty. Questioning is so important. Investigation, questioning. We're seekers.
Yeah, and we have questions. So this is a good question I think a lot of people are feeling. We have a lot of participants in our course that are from all over the world. A lot of them live in rural areas where maybe they don't have access to a meditation center or to you, or at least in person, which is why this is so great that we can reach everyone who has internet. We have a question that is, I live in a rural area in the South where I don't have much of a spiritual community, and it can be quite isolating. Is there any way to use that feeling of disconnect as grist for the mill for my spiritual practice, as Ram Dass might say? Before I let you answer that, I just want to jump in and say, as a little aside, Kelly Rigo, who works with us, is the head of an amazing program, program for Ram Dass followers, an ambassador program. So if you'd like to be a part of that, and she kind of connects people all over the world and all over the country together to form community. So if you'd like to be a part of that, email kelly@ramdass.org and she will get you started with that. So that was my aside, but back to the question.
Stay connected. Somebody once asked me that in person. I lead retreats around the country and do other things of that sort, and public appearances and workshops. They gave that preamble about what should you do. What can I do if I live in a place where you don't have a Dzogchen center and there's not a Ram Dass group, or they happen to say a mindfulness center, which now you can't say it because they're everywhere, like yoga centers. But anyway, so I imagined that this lovely woman, intelligent woman, was going to say she lives in, I don't know, Alaska or Tasmania or somewhere. This was in the 90s. And she said, I live in Pittsburgh. There's nothing there. I just, inside, I cracked up. I just had to say, I don't know. Last time I was in Pittsburgh, there was plenty there. Oh, you mean like spiritually? There's plenty there and everywhere. But now that we have the World Wide Web and other things, technology, the miracle, and also the bane of technology, we have to be its servant. We have to be its master, not its servant. We can connect anywhere, not just read books. We can listen and see and hear online. We can interact. We can learn. We can get academic degrees or other trainings online. Also, we can travel. It doesn't take us all year to go across the country in a horse or covered wagon like it used to, or walk to the Holy Land for months and years like people used to. And we can fly there. It doesn't mean it's better. Sometimes it's too fast and you get huge culture shock when you go there too fast. But I'm saying that you can get there from here, wherever here is. And also, whatever you're looking for, I pretty much guarantee that it is where you are. It's all within. It's within each of us and all of us. If we look deeper and dig deeper, and that's what these spiritual practices, that's a mindfulness and meditation and loving awareness, self-inquiry, and prayer. That's working on ourselves and wisening up is for, not just joining. of becoming more wise and loving and more of a mensch, a real person, not a fake. Authenticity is hard to define, but we certainly know when we're lying. So self-deception is also a big pothole in life and on the path. So it's good to get to know ourselves better and be honest and candid with ourselves as well as with each other. And wherever you are, you can certainly connect. But these days, you can find a yoga class, if not studio or center. You can find a mindfulness training, if not a meditation center. You can find these things pretty much almost in every street in America. Not to mention churches, synagogues, mosques, schools, and other places where people have the opportunity to grow and to learn, and even to study these things. There's plenty of this found in academia too today. And you can also get practicums and go to retreats, not just study it in books. So I'm all for it.
Speaking of books, do you have any suggestions for kind of beginner meditators for suggested reading that you might recommend?
I'd like to add one more. Yes, I do. But I'd like to add one more thing to the last part, because that person's question was also about feeling alienated and alone or far. And that's part of the human condition of being a separate self in this world, of our existential plight or the issue of challenges of existence and of growing up. And as we grow up, when we're young, we have to individuate and separate, to have a healthy, individuated adult self or ego. But beyond that, we also could grow further in wisdom and love and warmth and connectedness by recognizing interconnectedness. Not just teenage independence, but seeing our inseparable interconnectedness and discovering or uncovering autonomy within interconnectedness. Autonomy within interconnectedness, not just being stuck with the teenage idea of freedom or independence. And separateness, feeling separateness and alienation is something, and disconnect, we all have, most of us have to deal with at some time or other in life. And that's why people turn to a higher power or an inner power or the community, also for partners and love and children, and giving and taking care of raising the children. You just get so much out of it. It's not a one-way giving, as we know. So there's a refuge or a sanctuary there too. So we can find it wherever we are. Also, we can travel, as I mentioned before. Don't think that God isn't everywhere, or you can't make a pilgrimage to the Holy Land right where you are, even in Pittsburgh or wherever you live. Books for beginner meditation. How to Meditate by Kathy McDonald is very good. Thich Nhat Hanh, The Miracle of Mindfulness, very good. I'm trying to think of something by some of our favorite friends and co-teachers here on the Here Now Network.
Journey of Awakening was one that someone suggested, which is a good one, from Ram Dass.
Okay, I don't know if that's specifically about meditation, but yes, Ram Dass has so many marvelous books. You mentioned Christopher Miller. My favorite Ram Dass book, perhaps, is How Can I Help? Wonderful Stories of Service, self-asserts that he wrote with Paul Gorman a long time ago. You asked about beginners' books for meditation, so that's why I was thinking about that. That's pretty much enough. I mean, you can find it anywhere today. Just Google and listen, but even better, go to a class or a workshop or a day or a weekend retreat or something, or longer. There's plenty out there. We live in the information age. As you know, there's even good books for children, and how to do yoga by imitating the animals. Like Good Morning Yoga is a wonderful book. And I'm thinking of writing Good Morning Meditation, about how to do natural meditation for children or anybody, just by being in nature, by listening to the wind, by standing like a tree, by looking at and flowing like the water, by touching, the earth or digging your toes in the dirt, that kind of thing. The natural nature of meditation, where you settle and calm and clear And you don't even have to cross your legs or struggle to stay in any position. So I call that natural meditation. And I wish people luck. I think it's very important to try these things for yourself and see if it fits, and find some practice or practices that fit you. It's like shoes. You can't imitate what other people say are the best, fanciest Italian shoes in the world. If your feet are very wide, then Italian shoes are not the best. You want those very wide American shoes or whatever, that fits you. Because spiritual life has to be authentic and fit you, suitable. Otherwise, it don't do much.
Thank you. That seems like a perfect sort of wrapping up point for our webcast. And if you don't mind, we would love if you would lead us in just a couple minute meditation. If you would do that would be wonderful.
I'd love to, because I so enjoy the joy of meditation. And it's not that it's always good or it's always easy, but it's like family. It's so important. It's a refuge and sanctuary you can always count on to come back to the center, come back to the breath. So please, close your eyes if you like, or not. I don't know exactly where you are. You want to be practical. And start off by breathing, which you're already doing very good, relaxing and smiling a little. Breathe, relax, and smile. How sweet it is. Breathe, relax, and smile. Center, focus naturally. Just breathe, relax, let go, let be, and smile. Letting go means letting things come and go, friends. Letting be. That's the secret, not suppressing it. Getting rid of things. Letting be. Breathing, relaxing, centering, focusing, and smiling. And collect your energies, your scattered energies, your thoughts, your monkey mind, whatever, however, just to the breath, to the body, to your seat, to here now. Focusing on the breath at your nostrils or wherever you feel it, your diaphragm, your lower belly. Breathing and relaxing and centering, focusing, feeling your bum on the seat, feeling, collect your scattered thoughts into the body. Breathe, relax, and smile a little. And have to exaggerate. Nothing more to do or figure out or remember now. Nothing to achieve, just being present, awakeful, mindful rather than mindlessly sleepwalking through life. Breathing, relaxing, centering, focusing, and smiling. Centering and focusing on the breath, lightly, and aware of physical sensations. At the same time, breathing in and aware of it all the way in, and exhaling, and watching it, feeling it, sensing it all the way out. And enjoying it. Moment of peace, of refuge, of sanctuary, and home to here and now, to yourself, to your Buddha seat. Just sitting, just breathing, just being fully present and aware of the three meditators' jewels, or three pillars of natural meditation. Just sitting, just breathing awarefully, and just being present and attentive. The attention, it pays off. Enjoy the joy of presence in natural meditation. Being whole. Yes. This breath, only breath, this moment, only moment. Yes. Janjo Samcha Krimpoche Make Panang Ye Ye Pa Nyam Pa Me Pa Ya Kane Kandu Belwa Sho. That was a Tibetan chant meaning may all beings everywhere be happy, peaceful, free, liberated. May there be peace and harmony in this world, and an end to war, violence, poverty, injustice, inequality, and oppression. And may we all together fulfill the promise of this gorgeous spiritual journey, one family, one community, one beloved community, one sadhana, awakening together.
Thank you so much, Lama Surya Das.
Beautiful.
We've really appreciated having you on this session to wrap up our course. And I also want to thank everyone out there watching just for being a part of this journey with us. And I hope everyone has a beautiful evening. And please continue these practices. They will be available to you, as I've said before, indefinitely. So you can continue with the Facebook group, continue with the practices, and we're here as well for support. So please use us as well. And hopefully we can have Surya Das back again.
Always, not going anywhere.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Love.
Love.